In September of 2021, I traded in my 11-year-old Ford Escape and bought this Bronco Sport Big Bend. And then promptly the night I brought it home, I ended up in the hospital for 4 days. That wasn't a good 4 days, but I'm fine now. But it's not too bad of a vehicle. It's got the little tiny 1.3 liter 3-cylinder, 1.5 liter 3-cylinder in it though. And we're at 2,800 miles now, and I'm going to change the oil. And don't listen to any of these oil change intervals of 5,000, 7,000 miles or whatever. Do it at 3,000 or less each time. Any turbocharged engine, especially a little tiny one like this, works really hard, and it breaks down the oil a lot quicker than it did on a conventional engine. But I'm gonna just show you a couple things here for changing the oil. This isn't going to be a step-by-step procedure. I'm just going to show you a couple things here as you go along, so you have an idea what you have to do and where the various components are at. So underneath here, you've got this skid plate that needs to come off. There's a bunch of torque screws you need to take out. Turns out they take a T30 bit, and there's a couple of those, not sure where they're at, somewhere along here, right there. There's a couple of those push pins that have to come out. I just used one of these plastic forks that I bought a long time ago for doing that sort of thing. So you have to get that all off of there. I don't know why Ford, just about every vehicle now has these stupid things on there. Every time you change the oil, I gotta take it off and put it back on. But once I get this off, I'll start it up and show you where the oil filter and the fill plug is. Well, there's the back side of that cover, and just as I was afraid of, it holds salt and dirt in there. So if you live up north like I do, probably want to pull that off every once in a while and clean the crap out. Otherwise, it's going to rot your car up sooner than normal. I noticed didn't notice this before, but the inner fenders are kind of that same. It's kind of hard to see, I guess, but they're kind of that same, like felt rather than plastic. I just think that's going to probably rust things up pretty quick, but oh well. Got a bunch of torque screws, a couple push pins. That's what I use to take them off. And then underneath here, right there is your plug for the oil pan, and pretty much right behind it, I'm gonna have to get a light on. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Let me get a light. Okay, right there is your oil filter. It's just right in front of the oil pan. So that's what you use. That's where you do the oil change at, and I'll be back. Well, I've got that oil out. I haven't changed it yet, but just to show you how many miles this thing has. 2,864. And that's it. Not even 3,000 miles yet. Look at this oil. That's what I'm saying. Don't wait 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 miles to change it. Change it at 3,000 or less. While we're at it, I had a bitch of a time getting this factory oil filter off there. Every single vehicle I buy from Ford, that thing's on there so tight I'm afraid that I'm going to strip the threads to get it out of there. I don't know why they do that, but anyhow, up on top here, you'll notice mine didn't ship with an engine cover or sound deadening either. And I don't want either one because I want the heat to escape from this little tiny engine. So that's fine with me. But anyhow, right there's your dipstick, and right there's where you fill it. If you have the engine cover here, you're going to have a little hole there and probably a little hole here. So that's where you put the oil in, and that's where you check it. And it takes 5W20 Motorcraft, or well, whatever oil. I'm using Motorcraft this time. I probably won't after this. But the oil filter itself, the replacement filter is an FL910S. And that's what you put in, and that's basically it. You put that dirt holding cover back on, and you're good to go. Before I fill this up, let me show you something interesting here. With my old Ford Escape, the mice used to build a nest underneath the intake plenum, and I'd have to dig the insulation out every summer. Well, guess they got themselves a new car too. I'll have to dig that out. I got mouse traps all over here, and I usually trap 4 or 5 of them at a time, but they still keep coming. The guy behind us has horses, and I don't know if that attracts some mice or what, but I didn't used to have very many mice, and now they're everywhere. But I just noticed that. I'll have to dig that out of there. That sure is going to help heat dissipation. Oh well. And in your owner's manual, it shows for the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder, 5.3 quarts. And it's 5W20. Now, be careful if you have the 2 liter. I never noticed this until now. They're specifying 5W30 for the 2 liter. So, but I have the 1.5 liter. So, 5W20 and 5.3 quarts. And also, I may or may not have mentioned, I can't remember, it takes a 16mm socket to get the oil plug out. Okay, so now you have to reset the oil life indicator, which I ignore because, again, I change my oil in 3,000 miles or less. All you have to do is, now I'm just going to show here, you scroll through with the OK button, and you scroll through until you get to the information page, which is I was already on. You hit menu, scroll down to oil life, hit OK, and then I believe you hold that in. I'm going to do it to make sure. Hold that in until it says reset successful. Now we're up to 100% oil life. And then I'll put this back on the display I normally have it on, and that's all there is to it. Oh, and another thing, see that little loop there? That thing will put a knot right in your forehead, so be careful whenever you're checking your oil, because they centered that up pretty much right with that dipstick. Don't ask me how I know that'll put a knot on your head. I don't know why they didn't make this prop rod taller, but anyway, that's about it. Well, time to change my maintenance log. The Ford Escape's gone, and my mother wrecked her Ford Escape in November 2020. So that's it for those two. So time for that to come off. I'll put a piece of tape on there for the Bronco now. And next up, my Fiesta needs an oil change too. Mustang doesn't. I did it in November. I've only driven 100 miles since then.